here we are on board the Hyundai i30 SR. Now this is a 2012 model, which I bought in 2013. So this SR has a 2-litre petrol injection engine, not the 1.6 litre turbocharged engine that you would get in an SR if you bought one today. So obviously a different, different type of setup there. This is a 5-door hatchback, and when it was new, it cost round about $25,000 Australian dollars. This model, as far as I'm aware, was never for sale in the UK, so that's a bit of a shame. So it was an Australian only model. I mean, they may have sold them elsewhere in the world, but I think primarily it was for Australia, where we like to have biggish engines. So, okay, so what's it like? Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the buying experience. That was all fine, no problem at all. When we went to look at the car, chose the leather. No, we didn't. A leather upholstery was standard, so that was all good. They touted this as a hot hatch, or their hot hatch. Now, I wouldn't say that's true at all. I would say it's more like lukewarm. And the reason for that is, yeah, okay, it's quite a big engine inside, what's a very compact car. In Australia, they call it a small car. I think in Europe, it will be called a fairly sort of medium-sized car or compact. But anyway, the thing with the engine is, it's not got a massive amount of get up and go, you'd have to say. It doesn't have that like turbine type smoothness that the BMW of a similar sized engine, or even a BMW 1.8 litre would have. It needs to be worked if you really want to get some, really good performance out of it. So the gear change is a 6-speed. It's a 6-speed gearbox, manual in this car, and I would say it's nice and slick and it's easy to use. The only thing is, it's quite a long shift between gears. So if you really want to drive it like a sporty hatchback, and you're hustling it up through the gears, quite often you can easily beat the synchromesh. So, that's a bit of an issue. The dog is sitting on the passenger seat now, so it's setting the alarm beeper off for the seat belt. And there we are. But look, I mean, it's easy enough to change gear. It's smooth, it's slick, it's light, so that's fine. If you really want to get the most out of this car, though, you've really got to push it in each gear. I'm in 6th at the moment. I'm just going to drop it down to 3rd, because I'll tell you what, it's quite noisy, I think. Now I'm doing 4,500, 5,500 revs. Listen to that. It's not the nicest of sounds, I've got to say. Having said that, it gets a bit of a move on. We're doing 120 now kilometres. I hasten to add. In terms of handling, the car handles pretty well. You can really point it in the corners and blast out through them. Not bad at all. What I don't like about it is the ride. When the car was launched, and when we first got the car, it hadn't been out very long then, the ride I felt was very harsh. Hyundai themselves, I think, were a little bit worried about that and the reaction that motoring journalists would have to the car initially. Because I remember saying to the Hyundai public relations man, yeah, it's got a pretty hard ride, and he went, yeah, it's not harsh though, is it? Well, you have to bring that up. Look, I think it is a little bit harsh, or it was. What I would say now is it's done 127,000 kilometres, and it's softened up quite a bit, I would say. It's not bad now. But look, it doesn't combine a really great ride with great handling. The handling is good, as I've said. The ride, not so good. I find it pretty choppy. Don't like it much myself. I find it a little bit too hard. But there we are, Now, in terms of the other thing, let me just tell you about this thing they got on the dashboard, right? They have this stupid thing. Why would you have this? I don't know. But when you're driving along, say you're in 5th gear, this little arrow will come up and go 6. Now, if I need to be told at this stage in my life when to change up into a higher gear, really, I don't think I should be driving. Anyway, no harm in it, I suppose, but it's just another little distraction. You can do without it. Talking of distractions, on the dashboard, it's got, a screen here. I think, what is this? I mean, probably about 6 or 7 inches. I'll measure the thing later. But I'll tell you what's really annoying thing about it, you can't seem to turn it off. It's irritating at night. It's actually just too bright, so that's, you know, quite an annoying thing. Brakes are good. I have no problem with those at all. Always, you know, really efficient. Now, it's not that its brake pads changed in 127,000, so I would imagine it's, you know, getting pretty close to having to need new brake pads. But anyway, they feel fine at the moment, so no problem at all there. Let's talk a little bit about the driving position. It's okay. You can adjust the steering wheel up and down and towards you and away from you. Electric driver's seat, pretty good adjustment. Personally, I don't find it that comfortable, to be honest with you, compared to my Mitsubishi 380. Okay, the 380's got bigger seats, you know, they're a bit wider, but they're much more comfortable than these. These are leather. You know, somebody once said about the Japanese that they were the only people who could make leather look like plastic, and it's a little bit like that to me. It doesn't look it's okay, but I don't really like leather seats, particularly in Australia. You get in the car after it's been sitting in the sun and you got your shorts on because, you know, it's hot here a lot of the time, and you burn your legs. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I don't like leather, not a fan of it, but there you go. Back seat, not bad. You can split fold it, it's easy to do, and you can split fold it 2/3 and 1/3, so you don't have to have the whole of the seat down. It's pretty good. It goes to give you quite a flat load space. Usual problem though with a car that's got a sloping rear window, you know, boxy items, a little bit hard to get big boxy items in it. You find you can't shut the boot, so just have a look at that and think about what you might be carrying. The boot space itself, it's got whatever it's got in, you know, litres. What the hell does that mean? You know, can you get a suitcase in? Yeah, you can get a couple in, right? I don't think it's the best boot, but it's not a big car, so, you know, it's okay. We've taken it away on holiday for, you know, long weekends. 4 of us managed to get enough luggage in, so, you know, it's okay. No problem with that. Fuel economy, it seems to be pretty good. I'd say, you know, it says it's doing about 9.3 per 100 kilometres, 9.3 litres per 100 kilometres. I reckon that's probably about right. The only thing I think is, I find the tank a little bit too small. You know, it gives you about 500 kilometres per tankful, just over 500, and I don't think that's brilliant, to be perfectly honest. You're filling it up on average, I guess, once a week, you know, for most people. Anyway, there you go. It takes unleaded, of course, and it takes sorry, just got distracted there. It takes E10. You can use E10 in it. I wouldn't bother personally, because you get fewer miles out of E10 than you do from normal unleaded petrol, but there you go. It's telling me to change up in the 6th gear. Well, what do you know? Okay, what else? Let's talk a little bit about reliability. So in 127,000 kilometres, the car's, well, it's broken down once, I'd have to say, but that wasn't really the car's fault. That was just the battery going, and the battery had to be replaced. When the battery was replaced, the NRMA, National Roads and whatever it is, the equivalent of the AA or the AAA, the guy said to me, look, you know, batteries don't last that long these days. These cars are fitted with so many things, they're pulling so much power off, the batteries don't last long. You know, realistically, the battery lasted about 4 years, which I don't think is brilliant. I had a Daihatsu Syrian some years back, and that battery went for 8 years without needing replacing. So, you know, some things are not getting better, that's for sure. Anyway, I had to have a new battery, so that's that. Now, one of the other issues with it, let's just talk a little bit actually about the lights. I hate the lights on this car. Now, when this car was new and motoring journalists were doing reviews on it, not one motoring journalist, as far as I could see, ever mentioned the fact that at night the lights do not throw enough light forward. They just don't reach far enough forward. Now, what I reckon is, when motoring journalists are driving new cars, you know, most of them live in the city. drive them in the country much, so they're not really going to notice this situation with the lights. I've had the lights on this adjusted by the guys at the Hyundai dealership, because when you're driving on normal dip beam at night, and I live out in the country, right, as do a lot of you, when you're driving on dip beam at night, the throw of the lights is bloody rubbish. I mean, it just doesn't go far enough. So I had them adjust them. They pumped them up as much as they can. The problem with that, no, it's slightly better, you know, you can see more, but I still want to see further ahead. Now, it's slightly better than it was, but the problem is you are beginning to dazzle people who are coming towards you, you know, which is a real problem. Now, when you put them on full beam, you expect the lights to project way up, don't you? Okay, but these things don't. They still cut off, right? It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a car, honestly. And I've been test driving cars for over 30 years, actually about 40 years, right? I've never ever seen lights that are so crappy. Now, I know that Hyundai, because I wrote about this before, Hyundai said, no, there's nothing wrong with the lights. We don't have any problem with them at all. I just think that's absolute rubbish, right? So just bear that in mind. I'm not really sure what the answer is to that one, to be honest with you, but I don't really like them. I'll tell you an interesting Mitsubishi 380. That is 10 years old now, and the lights on that are at least double the throw of this car. Why should a car that was built 10 years ago have much better lights than a car that was built 4 years ago? It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, there you go. That's my rant about the lights. Now, the other thing that's gone wrong with this car, and this is really irritating. So 127,000 kilometers, it has had 3 sets of wheel bearings on the front. 3 sets. Now, like I said, I've been driving for a long time, and I've been doing road tests for a long time as well. In my, I don't know, what is it now, 45 years of driving, I've never ever had one car, either one I've owned, however crappy, or a road test car, or a long-term road test car, I've never ever had the wheel bearings go. This car, 3 sets of wheel bearings, right? Now, if you look online, you'll find a few people have had this same issue. So this is obviously an issue with this car. There's something wrong inherently with the design of the wheel bearings, or the way they fit. I don't know what it is, but anyway, they've been replaced 3 times. That's under warranty, and there you go. The warranty on this, 5 years, unlimited mileage. That's good, brilliant, excellent. The next time the bloody things go, I'm going to have to get them repaired, and it's going to cost me money because it's out of warranty, right? So there's obviously something wrong there, and I don't think it's just this Hyundai. So, you know, just bear that in mind. I don't know how much it costs to get them repaired, because it's always been done under warranty. But anyway, bear that in mind. So is the Hyundai i30 SR with the 2-litre engine, is it a good second-hand buy? Well, I would say it is. I think it's a pretty reliable car, and hopefully you don't have the problem with the wheel bearings that I've had, but apart from that, it's very reliable. It's a nice car to drive. Even after 5 years, it still feels good and solid. There are no rattles or squeaks. It's been good. It's got a good solid feel to it. Doors close with a clunk. I'll put some info on here about the value of a car with this sort of kilometers on at this sort of age. But yeah, have a look for them. I mean, the SR is not very common, not into the 2-litre version. So, you know, you'll have something that's a little bit different. I think it's going to be pretty reliable. So, yeah, have a look at it.